Dealing with jealousy and envy in a female atmosphere 101. It's pretty obvious that a lot of you females don't understand girl code, not only in general, but especially in friendships. When it comes to my female friendships, I'm definitely super loyal by default and very passionate and overprotective towards each and every one of them. And I don't have too many female friends due to them not understanding girl code. Stop dimming your light and belittling yourself in order for others to shine. There is room for everyone. From personal experience, it's not about how you look, but who you are and what you possess internally. Strength trumps insecurity. There's other ways to support and or reassure other people who may feel out of their element without you having to sacrifice who you are. Self-confidence is rewarding. And to elaborate on that, from personal experience, I used to get judged by girls based off of how I looked body-wise, mainly because I was always physically more mature than others. And these girls would judge the way I look, the way I think, the way I speak. And I just had to realize that 9 times out of 10, it's not just because they're jealous and envious, but their brain can't handle my intelligence and confidence. It's a threat to them. There's something about me that they want. Like, y'all, I'm just authentically me. Like, a lot of the times, too, I would get called a hoe or I would get judged because the guys were always around me. And I just used to think that it's because they knew that I had a brother or that I grew up around, like, my male cousins. I used to think that that's what it was. Like, they found, like, a bro quality in me. And not saying that, like, we're equal, but guys like females that they can talk to without it having to always be women thinking that they're trying to holler at them or, you know, it's something sexual. Sometimes a lot of guys just want good conversation. And I was that girl. Like, when the guys were having issues with their girlfriends or, you know, issues with a girl that they liked in general, they would come to me and confide in me. And other girls didn't like that, and they would think of it as me, like, being a pick-me. And it was just like, no, girl, sometimes dudes don't feel safe enough to be vulnerable with the person that they're with because you don't give them that. You don't provide that. It's like when they try to express themselves, you deem it as them being weak. Like, they always got to be hard. And, you know, me growing up with a brother, y'all, and a male cousin, it was easier for me to see life from their point of view, not in the sense of me wanting to be like them. I don't ever want to be like a man. I'm perfectly fine with being a woman, naturally. But it gave me it made me more open. And a lot of the times, some of y'all females just be a little too much. But that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, y'all, that's just, you know, I wasn't sleeping with them. The problem is they wanted me to be like them. And I didn't have to. Like, I didn't have to sleep with guys or, like, bring sex appeal. I just had to be myself. And I was in myself a lot. And that's why a lot of people were drawn to me. Because I didn't fit the mold of pretend or being unauthentic to myself. Like, it was no point. It's either you like me or you don't. Either you respect me or you don't. But I'm not about to morph myself into you in order to fit in. I'm never doing that. I would never. They can never peer pressure me into doing or saying anything that I did not want to say or do. If I wasn't comfortable, if it didn't seem real to who I wasn't doing it. So a lot of the times they didn't like the fact that I wasn't easily swayed. But you know, it's the fact that I wasn't gullible or naive and easily swayed and influenced to do things. They didn't like that. Like, the fact that I actually had a brain and was intelligent and had knowledge, it was like shocking to them. Which brings me to the next step when it comes to dealing with jealousy and envy within a female atmosphere. Stay away from women who always create false narratives about you. Stay clear. Like, every time you come around, or even before you get around, you're hearing from other women about this false beef that you weren't even aware of. Like, it was never brought to your attention. That just means there's some festered animosity towards you, and they're just waiting for the right time and place to set you. And before I finish, I just want to also mention that growing up, my mother always tried to warn me about females in friendship, but I never listened. Like, I'm the type of person, y'all, like, I have to learn for myself. And that's not me being hard-headed or wanting to be like just a hard person to deal with, but I've never been the type to not deal with somebody or not be cool with the person because somebody else told me not to. Because 9 times out of 10, they have their own beef, right? And because for whatever reason, it was just unfortunate for them, they feel like it's going to happen to you. That's not to say that what happened to them couldn't happen to me, but here's the thing, y'all, like, and I always have a pep talk with myself after this. But I'm the type of person, y'all, I like to use, like, obviously, real situations in my life. But I like to fabricate majority of it as a test to see how loyal females were to me. And when I tell y'all it works like a charm, every time, like, literally, people that I don't even talk to, and not because these are people that I beef with, like, we just never been in a place where we needed to talk to each other. When I tell you, even they would come and tell me literally verbatim what I told these other girls, or these girls that were supposed to be my friends. I couldn't miss. Like, every time I was right. Every time they failed. Every time. And they would come to me like, oh, how you know you didn't tell nobody else that? Because I specifically told you that. The things that I said, only you specifically know. And other things that I told other girls wasn't what I told you. I did tell them something, but it wasn't what I told you. And you fell for the bait. So just take accountability and take this L. Moral of the story, y'all, my mother was right about at least 98% of the females that I thought were my friends. She's only ever been wrong about 1. But the 98%, she was right. Literally. And maybe 2, not just 1. It was probably 2, but the only reason why I say 1 is because I don't know why she just really couldn't get with this one girl. But when I tell you, like, she was like my BFF, like, y'all, anytime people, this one girl would literally come back and tell me things that girls that I knew before her that I was actually friends with, or at least I thought I was friends with. I'm going to give y'all that in the story time. This brings me to my next tip. Be mindful and aware of your surroundings. Everyone who smiles in your face and converse with you isn't your friend. Everyone is not worthy of gaining your trust and genuine support. Be careful who you confide in. Some women will really study you and stick to you, and I think I said this before in the video, but some women or people in general will study you and stick close to you just to gain enough access to you to use whatever they learned and studied about you against you. Dealing with envy and jealousy within a female atmosphere came natural to me when I realized that all the females that I thought were my friends really secretly despised me. And I don't even understand why, because y'all, I was such a sweet person. Even still to this day, I'm such a sweet person, and I have a big heart, and I will literally give my last to somebody. But I realized that people didn't. The moment I realized people didn't mess with me the way that I mess with them is when these same females would go after guys that wanted me, but because I turned them down, they decided to go after them. Or they would literally go after guys or females that I dated. Talk about girl code. This is why I made the video on the false empowerment of females and sisterhood, because it's like I don't feel like it exists. Like, females are too busy trying to be in competition with each other, so it's never genuine. Like, a lot of friendships are never genuine. I would never date anybody or go behind my friend's back and do anything deceitful towards them. If you've betrayed me, I'm just going to cut you off. Like, I'm not going to deal with you. There's no need for me to go back and forth with you. It's just a wrap. It's a wrap. There's no need for us to go back and forth. For what? One time, y'all, I had a friend tell me that I'm not the only person that my ex is going to date, right? Or my exes are going to date. I don't talk to her anymore because clearly that statement alone just showed me the type of person she was. And she definitely did mess around with one of my exes, right? But when she said that to me, I was like, you're right. And I never said that I was. I just said that my friends are off limits. That's all I said. Especially if this is a person that I used to talk to you about and tell you that I really liked, but things just happen not to work out. Why would you then go and talk to them? This is why I say you have to be mindful of who you confide in. Because people really be plotting. They be really secretly, sincerely plotting on you. I am very overprotective and super passionate and loyal to my friendships, right? So if I tell you that you can't date or talk to anybody that I used to date or talk to, and your response is you're not the only person they're going to date, you're right. But that doesn't include you. That doesn't make you an option. Within my friend group, when I used to have a lot of friends, female friends, there always was some form of competition, animosity, envy, and jealousy amongst the group, excluding me. Because I'm only in competition with myself, and I say that all the time because it's true. We all have stories. And I'm going to keep saying that because it's the truth. We all have stories. We all go through different things in life. Are there some similarities? Yes. But the similarities are not enough for me to want to aspire or acquire anything that you have in life. Do I want us to generally all reach success and be happy and at peace and, to be in love? Absolutely. But how we go about it, it's not going to be the same way. What you go after is for you. What's meant for you is meant for you. What's meant for me is meant for me. There's no need for me to be in competition with people that I claim to have love for and genuinely support. What are we beefing for? Even my enemies, those that are out there who are really beefing with their stuff, because I don't consider myself to have enemies. You don't like me, that's on you. But if you're my friend, there's nothing that I got that you can't get. And I expect the same and vice versa. With the exclusion of certain things like men and women, we would definitely not share. That's definitely never going to happen. Having sexual intercourse with each other, performing sexual acts like having threesomes, foursomes, whatever, sharing each other's panties, not going to happen. There's just certain boundaries and limits that I'm never going to cross in a friendship. Definitely not gonna grow. Girl code has nothing to do with insecurity, at least not on my part. I can't speak for other females, but not on my part. There will never be a time where I'm close with somebody and I feel comfortable doing things that I would not feel comfortable if it was done to me. There's no flirting with nobody you date. And let me just be clear, y'all, and this is not to be arrogant, cocky, or none of that. Most of the guys that went after my friends always came to me first. Right? And in order for them to try to, I guess, get back at me, they would go after my friends. And most of my former friends were so naive and gullible, they took the bait. And that's how I knew deep down inside there was some festered animosity, jealousy, and envy towards me. Because they would literally go after the very same guys that would try to talk to me, or females that would talk to me, and then try to make it seem like I'm crazy. No, I'm not crazy. Why? You realize they're only talking to you and trying to get your attention because they can't get mine. So they think, being that when they tried that effort that they put in to try to get to me the first time, when that failed, they was like, okay, light bulb, let me try and talk to one of her friends to see if that'll get her attention. Not realizing that they're just causing a rift between me and you now. Because the fact that you took the bait and really thought that they genuinely wanted to be with you, that's a problem. That's a problem. You were around when they made their numerous attempts to get to me and fail. So now you want to be a part of the other failed attempts? And let me be clear, y'all. A lot of guys that, or girls that I turned down, but especially guys, a lot of them only wanted one thing, and I wasn't giving that up. I wasn't giving that up. I wasn't giving my virginity up to nobody, no guy. For what? You weren't going to be bragging on me. Like, you wasn't going to use me as bragging points. That's not going to work. And a lot of them knew that. So it's like they would like, some of them would like try to place bets on who would get me first. And they failed miserably. Miserably. A lot of guys that turn friends against each other, they don't do it because they like both. No. The one that they want clearly doesn't want them. So they feel in order to get their attention, they're going to start messing with people closest to them. And a lot of y'all be taking a bait. And that's not always the case and scenario. But a lot of y'all be taking a bait. And in most situations, that's how they say birds of a feather flocks together. I feel like because of who my friends were, like they automatically thought that I was like them. And that's not to throw any of my former friends under the bus, but it's just called the truth. A lot of them were sexually active at a young age, and I wasn't. But I didn't judge them for it, you get what I'm saying? Because sometimes some people are they just feel like they're mature enough or ready to participate in certain experiences in life, and I wasn't. When they would do that, I would get offended. Because it's like they were trying to imply that all shy girls are like low-key freaky or sneaky or whatever. And in some cases, that may have been true, but not for me. Not for me. I've never allowed anybody to sway me, peer pressure me into doing anything that I was not ready or comfortable with doing. So the fact that that was even implied is another reason why their attempts failed. Because you just like really trying to play in my face. Like, why? And I think the offensive approach came from, I'll do a video about this too, y'all. How I remained confident, or how I built up my self-esteem from a young age to deal with like negativity and whatnot. But just to give y'all like a little quick snippet, the offensive approach came because growing up, like I said, I've always been physically more mature than my friends, body-wise. Like, besides my face, the beauty in my face, y'all. And that's not to say that other girls weren't thicker than me, but I guess my body's proportion was just right. So people automatically assumed that I was like sexually active at a young age, or whatever the case may be. Like they thought I was doing grown up things at a young age when I really wasn't. My body type, people were thinking like that. So from a young age, y'all, I had to build my own confidence, my own self-confidence, and my own self-esteem. Like I was super guarded. And not because I wanted to be, but because I needed to be. And that was just based off of my growing up, my youth, and how adults just viewed me. And it's like how... So I had to add, and that's not to say that my former friends weren't pretty, because they were. They were gorgeous, like beautiful girls. You know, but things, unfortunate events based on their insecurities, you know, took a toll on our friendships, and we're no longer friends. But there's no bad blood. I still pray for them and wish them the best in all parts of life. Any endeavors that they embark on, their journeys, all of that. I wish them nothing but love, prosperity, and peace. Like, there's no animosity or festered, like, jealousy or envy on my part at all. Quick disclaimer, y'all. When I be watching my videos, I realize, like, a lot of the time, like, my New York accent comes out. And it's crazy because when I was younger, I never realized I had an accent. And I definitely used to talk way more proper than I do now. But I don't know, y'all. It's kind of like my New York accent is kind of cringe. And I don't know if y'all have picked up on that yet. But it's kind of cringe to me. Mine specifically, because it's like it's mixed with soft glam, but a little rough around the edges. And I don't really like that, because I'm not rough around the edges normally. Even sometimes when I gotta get out of character, I'm never the aggressor. So I don't know. I don't know if y'all picked up on my accent. I don't even think it's an accent. But you know, some people that are not from where you're from, to them, it might be an accent to them. So that's why I'm using the proper term. But y'all, I mean, my New York accent and makeup is definitely way more watered down than how people stereotype us and perceive us anyway. But I see the edginess, and